All right, Eric, thanks. The effects of that storm out west tonight already being felt as California officials are warning that the worst of the storm has yet to come as Tropical Storm Hilary made landfall today. Maximum sustained winds have hovered around 60 miles per hour, knocking down trees and causing power outages there. Flash flood warnings also in place tonight, and roads becoming unusable as up to 1.5 inches of rain falls every hour. We want to take you back to I-4, the westbound lanes near Paul Buckman Highway. We've just observed what appears to be some sort of life flight helicopter landing in the middle of the westbound lanes as this camera zooms in here a bit. That's a helicopter now in the middle of this shut down interstate for a wreck that we know has some injuries. It is unclear tonight how many injuries, how many vehicles were involved, but this is quite a mess in terms of traffic and definitely a situation with injuries. Now we see this helicopter landing presumably to take patients to a hospital. That was Chief Lee Burkhaw giving an update on an armed suspect. Officer shot and killed earlier this evening. Before we were able to bring you that press conference while we were still in a commercial break, the chief saying that a man who stabbed the mother of his children and left her bleeding, then stole an AK-47 from another person, led police on a chase to that location and then began firing at officers using that stolen AK-47, at which point numerous officers returned fire, striking and killing the suspect. The suspect has not been identified because next of kin to that person has not been identified yet. The children of that woman who is in critical condition tonight are being held with a family member. Now FDLE will investigate this as it is an officer-involved shooting. You were hearing the questions of News Channel 8's Justin Shecker and our crew who is on the scene there. They will have a live report coming up tonight on News Channel 8 at 11. 19 people involved. One of them is the former President Donald Trump. Other familiar names here: Rudy Giuliani involved in this indictment. Mark Meadows indicted on at least 2 counts. I see here Jenna Ellis. Names you will recognize from Donald Trump and his inner circle. This has just been made public in the last few minutes. This is what happened earlier tonight when this indictment was returned from the grand jury, handed to a judge who then unsealed those documents. They were then handed back to the clerk in Georgia and then taken in to be processed. They have now been made public some 2 hours since that happened earlier. And we have just in the last few minutes learned details of this, which we are still looking through at this hour. And something to note here, guys, this is a state case, meaning there has been speculation that Donald Trump could theoretically pardon himself should he be reelected and also convicted in one of the 3 other federal cases he is facing. But this is different. These are state charges. The president has no power to pardon anyone on state charges. So this is much more complicated. It now marks the 4th time he will face an indictment, and many of his associates, including some who have so far avoided legal peril in all of these cases, are now involved in this one. Something we'll be following as we await those remarks from the district attorney in just a bit. We're about a block north of Fletcher Avenue at this apartment complex. The shooting took place in a building about 100 yards behind me tonight. We know it's dark, but it occurred inside one unit at this apartment complex. Sheriff's deputies say that a person called 911 fearing for their safety, and deputies arrived to find one person shot inside that apartment complex. That person, a man in his mid-20s, was taken to TGH and later pronounced dead. But it sounds like a stray bullet, according to deputies, went through the wall of that apartment into another unit and struck a woman in her mid-70s in the foot. She's being treated at a different hospital tonight with non-life-threatening injuries. What we've learned is that there is yet to be a suspect named in this case. No arrests have been made, according to sheriff's deputies tonight, but they did tell us they are interviewing a person of interest, but gave no further information as to who this gunman was. They said a flared temper led him to draw a weapon. According to sheriff's deputies, they're continuing to do interviews and assess this scene, still working it, and this apartment complex remains roped off with police tape at this hour. We'll bring you more updates as we learn them at WFLA.com. Live in Tampa, Jack Royer, 8 on your side. We're at a point now where the rain is so thick that we can't even see across the street like we were for hours today, wondering when this was going to happen. Standing around saying, well, this isn't that bad yet. This is just outer bands of rain. And here it is this afternoon. The trees that used to have branches on them, you can tell where they've just been snapped off by the storm, and quickly too. All of the debris that you see here, give or take a few leaves, has come down within the past hour and a half. Here on Decatur Street in New Orleans, the winds and the rain are picking up. Behind me, they've been powerful enough to blow a piece of a roof right off of a building. We can tell you this is the worst we've seen from Hurricane Ida the entire time we've been in New Orleans. In fact, look right here, these roofs being ripped off as we speak tonight. This powerful storm now sitting here just dumping rain on New Orleans and the French Quarter. Here in Metairie, this tree has uprooted a sidewalk this afternoon, and you can see what might be a miracle in some sense. The branches from this pine tree caught it from falling on this house. Heidi, good evening from battered Louisiana. We're right near the French Quarter, high up above, to give you a shot at seeing just how powerful this storm is. The winds are whipping and pelting rain across this parking lot. Just above that is the French Quarter. We saw a roof ripped off of a business here. Not many people out on the streets this afternoon, and you can guess why. Whichever way the wind shifts is whichever way gets it. Chris, Megan, good morning again. And this is quite literally the first light of day for people waking up to assess the damage in their neighborhood here on Carondelet Street. Hotels behind me are telling their residents and guests this morning, you simply can't stay here. We simply don't have enough fuel for the generators and therefore no power, no ability to serve you anymore. Here at the 17th Street Canal in New Orleans, this is the levee system that a lot of people have faith in this time around. 16 years to the day since Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. Now on that anniversary, folks we're talking to feel confident that the millions of dollars in investment over the past near 2 decades will be enough to keep this city safe from Hurricane Ida. The governor here saying today this could be the worst storm to hit Louisiana since the 1850s. A powerful statement in an area that's been ravaged by storms of the past. Marco among them, Laura as well, and of course Hurricane Katrina. The anniversary of that storm making landfall here in New Orleans is tomorrow. Just the last few minutes, in fact, Marnie, about 8:22, we got word that he'd been captured in a suburb of Birmingham, about 30 miles to the south, apparently hiding, but the details are few and far between on that right now. A local police department was able to make an arrest. He's now being held in a jail in that county, just south of Jefferson County, where he was released by accident 1 week ago today. And that's the central question at this point. The primary question up until now was, where was Matthew Burke? Now it turns to, how was he released from jail, apparently accidentally. You'll see it again in this exclusive video obtained by 8 on Your Side. The gunfire rang out in an instant before the suspects in that car fled away. 3:43 p.m., just 1 minute after a school bus had dropped off children, when in an instant, a barrage of gunfire caught on a doorbell camera in video obtained exclusively by 8 on Your Side. Police say this Nissan sedan with 4 shooters inside rolled down the windows and fired in what they call a targeted attack. Eight on Your Side is blurring the graphic images showing victims falling to the ground and screaming for help.
This just doesn't happen in Lakeland, but today it did.
Police Chief Sam Taylor says the suspects are still at large. They're looking for a blue Nissan sedan with a temporary tag. Officers found felony amounts of marijuana at the scene, believing this shooting is drug-related. Still early in the investigation, but even officers are shocked.
I've been here 34 years, and I can tell you I have never worked an event where this many people have been shot at one time, ever.
Do you fear for your safety?
Yes. Yes, I do.
This woman has lived here for 7 years and asked to protect her identity for fear of retaliation, saying children living on the street are also at risk.
It's just sad that they have to witness the things that go on out here, and there's lots of drug activity that go on every single day, and it just seems like nobody ever does anything about it.
Police say it's a neighborhood they pay close attention to, aware of problems in recent years. Now, focused on this investigation, still in its early stages.
When stuff like this happens, you know, it just kind of hits home with me a little bit that, you know, maybe we're not a small town anymore.
2 days after Ian, this is what the Country Club Ridge subdivision looks like, inundated with water and trapping people in their homes. But some are getting out now, thanks to the help of Good Samaritans.
Thanks.
Tanya Suarez came to Northport to help.
We just come in and do what we can do and hope that we help a little bit anyway.
She drove 2 hours, her fan boat in tow, to rescue people from this neighborhood that's now underwater.
Is be here for each other, right, buddy?
People like Rhonda Stackhouse.
I'm here to gather up some of my stuff from my house that was destroyed. You know, you got to keep the faith in God. You know, everybody keeping together as a good community. Listen, if it wasn't for us, I don't know what we'd do.
They've been using kayaks and boats to get their neighbors to safety.
It's just heartbreaking.
Sasha Greto and her husband lost their home, and they're still trying to get others to dry land.
It's very overwhelming. It's devastating. I'm filled with despair, confusion, worry.
All while facing their own challenges.
Hell, it's past couple days been real bad.
Feeling overwhelmed and feeling like help isn't coming fast enough.
It's neighbors helping neighbors. There's been no help from the city, from the government. We've all basically banded together and helped each other.
Survivors of Ian turned into their own first responders.
Hundreds and hundreds of people's lives are changed forever because of this.
It's okay. I really think it's going to be okay. I'm so sorry.
Northport neighbors helping neighbors after the storm of a lifetime. While many people have been rescued, others are choosing to stay in their homes despite the flooding. Those who've made it to dry land tell me they're not sure what will come next. In Northport, Jack Royer, 8 on your side.